So today I'm going to be going through my eyeshadows, and I'm going to be starting off with eyeshadow primers and bases over here. I also have cream shadows as well as shadow sticks. And then lastly, I have my glitters and like pigments. But to be honest, just knowing me, I don't know the likelihood of me being able to get through every single one of these products, just because you guys know I can get a little long-winded at times with my makeup, actually at all times. But if the glitters and pigments don't make it in this video, it will be in the next one. But let's go ahead and get started and see how far we get. So starting off with eyeshadow primers, I have the NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base, and this I've had for quite a long time, but I do want to hold on to it. Typically, I don't really like these type of more transparent type of eyeshadow primers, just because I find that I like something with a little bit more of like a creamy or beigey tone to it to really help cancel or neutralize my eye. That way my eyeshadows pop a little bit more. But I do want to hold on to this because I feel like this is the only sheer eyeshadow primer that I've used that doesn't make my lids super greasy or oily and cause them to crease like crazy. So I do want to hold on to it for that reason. This one is by Essence. I don't know the name of it. It's I Love Stage. It is their eyeshadow base. And I do want to hold on to this. I actually really enjoyed this. I tried it on in my Essence try on video and I really do like it. It's very creamy and liquidy, has a little doe foot applicator. And you can see with this one, it has more of that beigey or neutralizing tone to it, which I really do like. Now, this isn't super thick, so it doesn't really hold that true to this color as you kind of like blend it out. It does sheer out pretty drastically, but it still has a nice hint of nude on the eye, and I really do like it. I would definitely say this is one of my favorite drugstore eyeshadow primers. I have this little mini Bare Minerals Primetime Brightening Eyelid Primer. I don't even know how long I've had this, but I do like the concept of it being a brightening eyelid primer. I think that's really unique. Okay, so this is actually totally dried up. And it's not because the little like tube is clogged or anything. I can actually feel in the tube. It's almost feels like dried up putty, so that sucks. I don't even really remember how I felt about this. I must have tried it out 1 or 2 times and then obviously threw it in a drawer, but yeah, kind of bummed, but I am gonna go ahead and let it go just because it's all dried up and gross. I have this little mini Smashbox Photo Finish Lid Primer. I can't say I've ever even used this before, so that one I'll still hold on to. Next one is MAC's Painterly Paint Pot, and this one I think I'm gonna go ahead and let go of, not because I don't like it, I actually love it. It is one of my longtime go-to eyeshadow primers, but this one I've just had for a very long time. It's constantly dried up. Every time I reach for it, I feel like I am digging and digging and digging to get any like creaminess left in this product. Anyways, I am gonna go ahead and let go of this just because it's really old and dried up, and I actually have been reaching for Soft Ochre a lot more than Painterly. So if I had to choose between one or the other, I would probably choose Soft Ochre. Next is something that I really do like. It's the Sephora Beauty Amplifier Mattifying Lid and Liner Primer. And some people might deem this as kind of a unnecessary product, but I actually really love it. All it is a little tiny compact translucent powder that's meant to set either your eyeshadows or your eyeshadow primer. I am someone that typically sets my eyeshadow primer for a long time with like translucent powder or a cream shadow. But number one, with the translucent powder, normally they tend to be loose, so it gets a little bit messy. And then also when I set my eyes with like an ivory or cream-based eyeshadow, I feel like sometimes it can look a little bit heavy. Sometimes it actually alters the look of my eyeshadows as well, or kind of like dulls down the color. With this, it totally doesn't disrupt the shade of the eyeshadow. As you can see, it's pretty much invisible on my hand. It kind of just lightly sets my eyeshadow primer without adding any extra color. There's a little tiny hint of nude in there, but really not anything that detectable on the skin. So yeah, I just really like this. I feel like it helps blend my eyeshadows out a lot more seamlessly, and I just really love it for setting my eyeshadow primer. I have these two guys by LA Splash, and I know I had a third one last year that I let go of. It was a really pretty lighter tone champagne color, but these I use for eyeshadow bases, and this first one is in the shade Nude, and then the other one is in the shade Smoky. I don't know if LA Splash makes these anymore. I got them quite a long time ago, but I had to get rid of the champagne one or the lighter toned one last year because it got really dried up, and I can tell just by looking at these how dried up these have gotten. So there is the shade Nude. You can see it's a really nice, light, flattering, golden, beigey type of color. And then here is the shade Smoky, which you can actually see is not so much of like a dark black, but more of a deep navy blue kind of gunmetal shade. But I absolutely love the both of these for an eyeshadow base, simply because they're not really creamy or heavy. They're very, very light, but add just a little hint of something extra to my eyeshadows. But I actually think I'm going to continue holding on to Smoky just because it's one of the only eyeshadow bases this deep that I have. It's probably the only one actually that I have that's this dark in color. But as for Nude, I can tell that it's already pretty dried up, and I just think it's probably time to go ahead and let this one go. I have a MAC paint, and this is in Bare Canvas. I love this guy so much. It creates such a matte, full pigmented base for the lid. I can actually use this completely by itself on my eyelid if I want like a nice ivory, creamy kind of like cut crease type of look, but I really do like it and will hold on to it. I have 3 of these Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potions, and I actually did not like the original Urban Decay primer potion. I felt like it looked really watery and just kind of was way too sheer for my lids, but I love these. And I have the shade Greed, which is the gold shade. I have Eden, which is the matte nude color. And then I have Sin, which is a super intense taupe. These are so pigmented that you could easily use them on your lid and they show up just fine. Like, I don't even think that you need an eyeshadow on top of these to get them to show up because they're very, very intense. I'll go ahead and just swatch out Sin on my hand, and you can see, I mean, a little bit goes a very, very long way. It's very reflective and beautiful on the eye. So these ones I am definitely going to be holding on to. I have the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer, and this one I just think it's time to let go of as well. It's another one of those really sheer eyeshadow primers. Like I said, I do like something with more of a beigey, creamy tone to it now, just to kind of help neutralize my eye. And I feel like this just makes my lids feel really greasy and oily. A lot of times when I first squeeze this out, I'll get a ton of oil before I get actual like primer product. So this one I think I am just going to finally let go of. I have a couple of NYX eyeshadow bases. I have ESB01 as well as ESB03, and it's just the white and the nude color. So there's what that one looks like. And here's the nude tone one, which I'll go ahead and just swatch. There's what it looks like. These aren't quite as pigmented, I'd say, as a MAC paint pot. Actually, depending on what type of paint pot you get, I wouldn't say they're quite as pigmented, but they do serve for really, really nice bases, especially this white one. If you're working with like really intense colors, this one is amazing. So I will hold on to the both of those. I have the NYX Glitter Glue Primer, which the packaging is just every unicorn goal in the world. I love it so much. But I really do feel like this works well with my glitters, so I will hold on to that. Lastly, I have another glitter glue, and this is the Hard Candy Showgirls Secret Glitter Glue. This one is interesting. It's actually kind of watery. I think if I had to pick between these two, I would really recommend the NYX one a lot more, just because this one feels a little bit more substantial on the eye, where this one almost seems like a glorified Fix Plus spray. I don't think that it works that insanely well. Not that it works bad either, I just don't think that it works better than this for sure. So, but I will continue to hold on to it just in case I run out of this or can't find it. I have this as a backup. Okay, so here are my cream shadows. The first two things I have are these Chanel Illusion d'Ombre cream shadows, and I am definitely holding on to these. I have Epitant as well as Illusore, I don't know, but these are such high quality, super intense looking eyeshadows. And I know that I opened these last year and everyone was commenting about how dried up they are at the ends, but I really don't care. I paid a lot of money for these. Unless they really start looking bad or I feel like they are expired, I'll continue to use them. That is the shade Epitant. You can see it is just so glittery and shimmery and just everything that I love in a shadow. These shadows are great for just swiping on the lid, which is something I also really appreciate about them. They're not so sheer that you can only wear them as a base. You can actually wear them as just sole lid colors, which I really like. And obviously you can build up the colors a lot too, but I am definitely holding on to the both of those. Now this one I really, really love, and I have mentioned it a few different times. It's the Revlon Colorstay Cream Eyeshadow in 705. I think these are still pretty new to Revlon's collection. What I really, really love about this specific eyeshadow is that it has a very wet look on the eye. So it doesn't, like, I don't know if you can kind of see that LA Splash one in comparison, but it almost looks a little bit dried down, this one, and not just because of the texture, but I feel like a lot of cream shadows will start to settle and look a little bit powdery at times, or kind of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. They just don't look very silky on the eye, where this one just looks like pure silk. It is so pretty. It has a very kind of wet, glossy type of look to it. It's not anything that intense, obviously, so I don't think it's like a statement eyeshadow by any means, but I think it's really pretty if you love the whole like glossy, fresh eyelid type of look. I think it looks very pretty and youthful on the eye, and obviously just goes with so many different things. I love the idea of wearing this just with like really heavy mascara and a beautiful bold lip. I just feel like it looks so editorial and pretty, especially for a drugstore shadow. I just love this one. I think it's one of my all-time favorite shades from the drugstore. I have a couple of MAC paint pots, which I'm holding on to. I have Groundwork, which is just like a matte medium brown. And then Rubenesque is more of like a sheer golden color. And then this last little guy is the Makeup Forever Aqua Cream in the shade 18. And there's what it looks like. You can see it's a very cool toned, beautiful lavender color, fun unicorn-esque purple color. It's just so pretty, so I'm definitely going to be holding on to that one. Next, I have my Maybelline color tattoos, but I actually think I'm going to just swatch all of them now. That way I can talk about all of them at once. So I have my first set of swatches here, and I'm gonna go ahead and just go down the line. So the first one is the shade Lavish Lavender, which is kind of a deeper toned lavender shade. There's little speckles of like silver running through it, but it's a pretty warm lavender color. I also have Pomegranate Punk, which is kind of a mixture of brown and burgundy. It's really beautiful on the eye, especially for the fall. I have the shade Bold Gold, which is a deeper gold color. Rose Riot, which is a lighter baby pink. Bad to the Bronze, which is such a long time go-to for me. It's very, very pretty on the eye. It adds just a perfect little like bronze touch to your lid. And then finally I have Fierce and Tangy, which is a matte, kind of like yellow based orange color. I think I probably want to let go of Lavish Lavender. It's very, very pretty, but it's actually pretty dark of a lavender color on me, and I do like more of like the lighter, icier versions of lavender on my eyes. So this one I think I am just gonna go ahead and let go of. Okay, so for this arm, unfortunately, I think it's mostly made up of limited edition shades, but I'm just gonna go through them anyways. And this first one is Icy Mint, which obviously is just a really sheer wash of like a cooler toned mint color. This next one is Hydrangea Hype, which is a little bit of a deeper bluish purple. Now these next three came out in a collection probably a few years ago now, where Maybelline was coming out with all these super beautiful like duochrome iridescent cream shadows, and I think I got almost every single color from that collection, with the exception of one which I couldn't find, and I think it was called Mermaid. But I got rid of a few last year, and these are the ones I held on to. And this first one is Waves of White, which I don't even know if you can really see in the lens, but just looking at it face on, I see tones of pink, of blue, of green. No matter which way the light hits it, it changes color, which I think is so cool. And it kind of makes me sad that Maybelline isn't releasing these shades now, because I feel like holographic eyes and lips and everything are much more popular now than they were when these guys initially came out. So I'm hoping that Maybelline makes these type of eyeshadows again, because they're the most like iridescent holographic effect type of eyeshadows I've ever seen, period. The next one is Precious Pearl, which has a little bit more of a white yellow base to it, but again, when I move my arm, in the light, it changes color from orange to pink to yellow. And then lastly is the shade Cool Crush, which is more of a mix of like purples and blues. I think from this arm, the one I want to let go of is Hydrangea Hype, which is sad because I don't even think I used it all that much. And the reason being is that it is more of a deeper purpley blue color, which I don't really ever wear on my eyes. So this one I think I am going to let go of, but I do want to hold on to the rest of these colors. Now, the last little cream shadow that I do have actually is not from Maybelline. It's from Benefit, and it's in the shade Skinny Jeans. And I've had this one for a while now, but I really do like it. In the pot, it doesn't look exciting at all. It kind of looks like a really bland brown color. But when you swatch it out, it does have a very like deep denim kind of look to it. It's kind of a mixture of gray, army green, and really, really deep blue. It's very, very pretty, and I will continue to hold on to it just because I feel like it's very unique. So getting into my shadow pencils, the first one I have is the Milani Shadow Eyes 12-Hour Wear Eyeshadow in Almond Cream. And this is just a really beautiful, creamy pencil. It's very, very creamy. It isn't hard. It doesn't tug on the eye whatsoever. I don't know if you guys could even really tell, but I barely had to touch my skin. And obviously it has amazing pigmentation. I love using this as a base for my eyeshadows. Sometimes I'll just use it on the lid or to kind of help clean up my brows. I actually don't use this quite as often now that I think of it to clean up my brows because it is so creamy. I remember it actually kind of makes a little bit of a mess if you're trying to be super precise, but I do like it as a base for my eyeshadows. The L'Oreal Infallible Paints Ombre Eyeshadow in Cool Ivory. And I mentioned picking this up not that long ago, and I really have been liking it so far. There is one side that is more of a lighter champagne color and one that's more of a golden tone. So I really love that they have both colors in one. But yeah, I'm gonna be sharing more of my thoughts on this guy in upcoming hits and misses, so definitely keep your eyes out for that. Now this guy I think is about time that I let go of. It's the e.l.f. eyeshadow in Rose Gold. I think it's like one of their aqua eyeshadows. Here's a little swatch of the color. You can see it's super reflective. It's just like the most true rose gold color. If you guys watched my first impressions video where I was trying this out, you saw that I tried to build and build and build this eye color and could not get it to show up for the life of me. Also too, my friend Rosa on here, who also makes YouTube, I don't know if she's watching, but she did suggest to me that I should try it out as a highlighter because it's so reflective and shiny. And I did try it out that way as well, but I found it to be just way too deep for my skin tone. So sadly, I think it's time to just finally say goodbye to this guy. I tried to make you work, but I just did not succeed. I have a NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in 614 Lavender. As you can see, it actually got super smashed because the cap kind of cracked. There is a little swatch of the color. It's a really beautiful light toned purple color. I really only use this as a base because I find that these jumbo pencils smudge a lot on me or crease a lot on me, so I can't ever use this just as a pure lid color, unfortunately, but I do want to hold on to it purely to act as a base for other lavender shadows. Speaking of lavender shadows, I have the Sephora Waterproof Jumbo Liner, and this is in the shade Lilac Shimmer. NYX's lavender is definitely a little bit more white based and lighter toned on the eye, so I do want to hold on to the both of them, and I really do like these Sephora pencils. I think they work very, very well. They're very sturdy. They last literally all day long, and they have really, really amazing color, so this one is a keeper for me as well. I have another NYX Jumbo eyeshadow pencil. Again, sadly, the lid is cracked, but thankfully, this one isn't totally smashed yet. If you have a really bright shadow or anything that you really need to pop on the eye, this is amazing as a base. I have this NYX Infinite Shadow Stick in the shade Crystal. This thing literally looks like it survived a war. Like, it is so beat up and disgusting. And yeah, it's very, very dried up, so it's definitely time to let this one go. I would use this as a base for my inner corner highlight. Reason being is that for the longest time, I could never get my inner corner to look like super shimmery. Like, I love it when girls do really, really bright, shimmery inner corner eye looks. I feel like it looks so like wide-eyed and beautiful, and I feel like for me, I can never really achieve the same type of look. Like, my inner corners tend to look a little bit more just less exciting, and I feel like this definitely helped made my inner corner pop. You can see it's a very icy white color, so I actually would consider repurchasing this, but yeah, sadly I'm gonna go ahead and just let that one go. I have these 3 Armani Eyes to Kill cream shadows, and I did get these from Influencer, and I did do, I think, a review on these, or I shared them in my hits and misses because I absolutely love them. I have 3 colors. This one is in the shade 12, which is a really glittery, shimmery color. I have this dark brown one, and this is in the shade 21, and it's kind of like a deep matte brown. And then I have this one, which is actually like a warm matte nude, and this is in the shade 24. I love these. I feel like they are by far the best liquid eyeshadows I have ever used. They're super pigmented, but they're also really, really easy to work with. Like, they don't dry down really quickly. You can literally just blend these out with your finger and they look really amazing on the eye. And since I don't think that we're gonna be able to get to the glitters and pigments in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and quickly swatch these in case you wanna see what they look like. They come out a little bit watery, but don't be fooled. When they dry down, they have such even, beautiful color. They're very, very easy to work with. They're easy to build up, and I just really love them. Okay, so the last thing in here is the Essence Peach Perfect 2-in-1 eyeshadow and liner. I wanna let this go because I felt like no matter how much I tried to build it, it wouldn't really look the way it did in the swatch on my eyes. I was actually gonna say the e.l.f. one looks a little bit darker, but now that this one is kind of drying down, they look pretty identical. So yeah, if you were curious about that, they pretty much are the same color. And it's unfortunate because when I do swatch it out, it looks stunning, much like the e.l.f. one, but on my eyes, I cannot get the color to show up. And one of you actually did leave me a comment on that video saying that the way you got it to work was just by letting it set on your eye, like you put on a bunch at once. I think that's what she said. She put a bunch on at once and just let it dry on her eye rather than trying to like blend it out. I feel like blending shadows out is just like so second nature to me, but she said with this, try to not blend it out, just let it set on your eye and the true color should actually show up. So I want to try it out that way before I finally let it go. If you guys ever have suggestions on how to work with an eyeshadow, or if I don't like something and you found a way to make it work, definitely let me know. I feel like that's the fun of being on YouTube, is that we can all kind of share our tips and tricks and ways we found things to work. So thank you to that person that left me that comment, because hopefully it is going to work out on my eyes. All right guys, so these are all the eyeshadow primers that I'm holding on to. And then here are all of the cream or shadow sticks that I'm gonna continue to use. And here is everything that I am letting go of for this round. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get to my glitters and pigments, but I promise I will next time. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up so that I know. And if you're new to my channel, I would love if you would subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any of these future decluttering videos. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you so much, and I will see you all next time. Bye.